welcome. I'm Nira Berry, happiness coach and your host of Happy and Healthy, where we explore and discover all the many ways of keeping you feeling happy and healthy. And make sure you stay tuned to the end to my last segment of What's Good to Know, where I've always got something good to share with you. So today I want you to welcome my guest, Aubrey Reinmiller. And it's going to be a great show because I'm so excited because we're going to talk about saying yes to every adventure for your next trip, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. So Aubrey is a certified personal trainer, a licensed physical therapist assistant, and a certified senior fitness and functional specialist. Like, wow, and you're also the author of an Amazon bestseller, Reinvent Aging, the Overfitness Guide to Improve Energy, Strength, and Balance. And this is something that everybody can use.
Yeah.
And so it's wonderful because, when we're prepping for a big trip, we always forget about prepping for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different aspects of it. So, so I just wanted to ask you, what inspired you to take this on?
Yeah, so at Vitality Fitness, we help women and men over 50 to really prepare their body to enjoy the second half of life, to really, say yes to every adventure and really, get their energy back, get their strength back. And we found that so many of our clients were preparing for a really big trip. They were, going to be going on a big trip with their family. Maybe they were going on an African safari or touring Europe or even just a big trip to Disney World with the grandkids. And, as they're coming up and preparing for these trips, they realize, these are trips where you're on your feet much longer. It can be a really long day. And so they wanted to have their body ready and prepared for these things. So we came up with a little guide and some tips to help our clients to really feel their best and prepare their body ahead of a big trip.
That's great. Because there are so many things that come up, like, if you're, whether or not you're climbing, going to Machu Picchu or just walking through cobblestone streets in Europe, you have to know a lot of things ahead of time.
Yeah.
And it's not even just being on the trips, but also the transportation, right?
Oh, yes.
Whether or not, flying, trains.
Right. You can be sitting for a much longer time. You have to navigate the airport and travel so far sometimes. Your terminal's the very end. So a lot of times, it can be hard on your body if you're not prepared and ready for it.
Yeah, I read somewhere there's this famed Duke professor of medicine, Eugene Steed, said that there are 3 causes of illness, and one of them is whether you're made wrong, or you're wore out, or you have bad luck.
Yeah.
And so if there's a part of you that may be, not 100%, and then then you
push
you're not
it too
trained,
far.
you push it too
Yep.
far, and you don't have the strength, and then you have bad luck on top of it, then forget it. So at least roll the dice in your favor, right?
Yes, get yourself ready ahead of time so that you're really ready for it.
So okay, so why don't you tell us what are some things that that we should know?
Yeah. So the big thing is to get yourself ready ahead of time, to really prepare and plan ahead of time. Don't wait until the last minute. I know recently, just last week, one of our clients was getting ready for a big trip, and these things come up at the last minute, so many last minute little things that you end up, forgetting to get the right amount of sleep. You end up not eating your right meals, not getting as much hydration as you're used to, and then it all comes up too quickly, and then your body is not ready. You're already worn out before you've even started your trip. So.
I know, that happens to me. I'm always up late, the night before,
trying to
packing.
last minute thinking of all these things.
And then with the time change, it makes it doubly
even
hard.
harder.
Yeah.
So if you're not planning ahead and you're not, fueling your body with the right foods, getting the right rest, making sure you're giving yourself enough time and hydration leading up to your trip, you're already going to crash and burn before you've even started.
Yeah. So what are some other things that we...
Yeah, so you want to make sure that you're getting that sleep. You want to make sure that you are hydrated. And then you want to make sure you have the right, packing. You want to pack the right way, of course, right? Because bringing the wrong items with you can be the biggest mistake. I know I went to a conference a while ago, a business conference. It was just 1 or 2 days, and I was walking through the store and leading up to it, and I saw this cute little duffel bag, and I picked it up. I was like, oh, this is going to be great for my trip. Well, of course, even though it was 2 days, I filled it to the brim, right? Barely could zipper that bag, of course.
We all do that,
There's like things
If
for
there's
my
space,
things
you fill it
for
up.
work I didn't think about, things for every little thing, little extra adventure I didn't think about, filled up that bag, overfilled it, right? We always do that. And then I held that bag on my shoulder through the airport, of course, all the way to the end terminal. And by the time I, carried it to the bathroom and carried it where I needed to go, my shoulder was killing me. So the right thing to do is make sure you have the right luggage. The best thing you can do is really get the right luggage for your body. And, you want to think about something more of like a backpack would be a much better situation for what I was working with.
Because that has
two durable straps over your shoulder. Yep, would be much more secure. Yep, than a thin kind of strap that was digging into my shoulder. And then, of course, something of a light luggage that you could roll or pull is always a good option. You've seen, people in the airport that are, using that luggage that's tried and true and been so long with them. But, it might be time for an upgrade to make sure that you're really, keeping your body healthy when you're ready to get ready for your trip.
Yeah, I know, like, right now, I have some older luggage that's perfectly good,
right?
But it weighs twice as much as the newer luggage.
Exactly.
And also, they're kind of restricting how much you can bring, but just that alone.
Yeah, even just making those small changes of, the right suitcase can be, or the right bag can be the thing that's going to help your body to stay healthy during the trip.
And even what I was told is even like if it's a backpack, to make sure it's adjusted right.
Yes.
Should it be adjusted higher?
You want it, right up upon your back. I'm always doing this to my son. The straps come loose, and he's, has it really low down, below his tush, and he's really lugging that backpack. No, like tighten up those straps and make sure it's right fitting there for you. And having that good bag is going to be really secure for you too.
Yeah. And have you had experience with somebody that maybe didn't prep right for their trip?
Oh, yeah. And another thing I was going to mention was the shoe wear. It can be huge to have the right shoes. I'm sure this has happened to you where you bring, a cute pair of shoes for a trip, but you end up doing so much more walking than you were thinking of, or even just getting through the airport.
Yeah.
Is a long trek on that first day getting to your destination. You might think, oh, I'm going to the airport, I'm going to have to slip off my shoes, maybe I'll wear something, slide on, but it's really better to make sure you're wearing something secure for your feet so that you can be, on your feet for a long time and be feeling good.
Yeah, because whether or not you're at the airport or train station, there's it really nowadays it involves a lot of walking. It could be like a mile from when you check into security to where you're actually where the gate is.
It always feels like your terminal is the last one,
and
right?
It is. It always is. I don't know how that works. And it always seems to be the very last one. And they have those people movers at the airport where it's like a treadmill that moves you forward. But even with that, it's still a lot, to be on your feet. And I know, like even when you're, uneven surfaces, right?
Yeah. You can, in the airport, another good tip is to make sure you're not carrying your bag for too long. If you do have a couple bags, if you're going on a long trip, if you're there with your whole family or, a group, and you have a few bags, use those carts. So don't be a hero. Get the cart, use it. Make sure you get to where you're going without all that lugging it on your back. And it's really going to be better for your body if you do the right things leading up to it.
Yeah, I like what you just said. Like, don't be a hero.
We all think we can power through. We're like, oh, it's not going to be that far. Let me just hold the bag. And you're like, by the end, you're.
I know, and what I tend to do, and I know this is not something that you should do, is that I always bring everything that I could possibly may need.
Yes.
And even if I'm going, overseas, they still have, stores that I can get things, and there's Band-Aids everywhere,
Yes, and even just, pairing like different pieces that you might wear with different outfits, right? A couple pieces that you could swap a jacket or, so you pack a little lighter so you're not carrying as much.
Yeah, and then plan on layering.
Yes.
That's what I tend to do. So yeah, so I know like that about the luggage and just just prepping in general, right? Even like bringing snacks with you. I think.
Yeah, that's a great way, is make sure you keep your energy up. A lot of times with those long days, by the time the end of the day comes, you're feeling cranky and hungry and tired. And if you're bringing the right snacks with you, you can really make sure that you keep your energy up and that you can make it to your destination.
Yeah.
We suggest a lot of times for people to bring a empty water bottle that they can fill up, and really make sure they're staying hydrated. The plane is, or any transportation can be really dehydrating. And then even just some other snacks. You could bring sometimes apples or pears or a little bit more durable fruits that you can carry with you that aren't going to get squashed and smushed in your travel. Even some nuts is a good, healthy fats and proteins that can keep you full longer.
Yeah, because sometimes those planes, sometimes they're stuck on the tarmac for like a really long time, much longer than you expect. Sometimes,
There's
unfortunately,
always a delay.
people get stuck for a few hours, and so I think that's
bringing
important.
some things with you is a great idea.
And then also, I know that what we're going to do in the next segment, we're going to talk about doing some prepping exercises and stuff, but also about like just like lifting luggage and things like that, just maneuvering with that.
So it's important to protect your body, especially when you are lifting your luggage. Getting onto the plane can be so tricky. There's so much crowds. You want to get settled in your seat, and you've got to get that luggage up into the overhead compartment. And
should we like kind of ground ourselves and then push?
So it can be tricky, but and the space is typically narrow also. So you don't want to be twisting at your back. You don't want to be hoisting. You want to do as much of a kind of a squatting motion as you can. So turning and facing in the aisle to your bag. You can even break up the motion by lifting that bag onto the seat first and then getting it up into the overhead compartment. But turning your body and your feet is a better idea than twisting and pushing at your back. And if needed, ask somebody for help. Same thing. Don't be a hero. Don't try to push through. I think we were talking about, we've seen it happen where people have dropped their suitcases on someone else.
Yeah.
Just
I've
because
had that
they
happen
thought
to me.
oh my gosh.
I felt like I had a concussion.
Oh my gosh.
That's happened to me.
So ask another passenger, or ask for help if it feels like too much for your body.
Because you're not just helping yourself, you're helping the other person who
yes.
dropped on.
Yes.
So we're going to take a short break, and we're going to continue. We're going to actually demonstrate some of the things that we can do to prep for everything for our big trip. So I'm Nira Berry, your host of Happy and Healthy. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. I'm Nira Berry, your host of Happy and Healthy, and we're going to continue saying yes to our next adventure with Aubrey Reinmiller, and we're going to learn about some of the stretches and exercises we need to do to stay strong.
Yes.
So tell us, what are some things that we should know?
Yeah, so when you're getting your body ready, there's some good exercises that you can do to stay strong and get your body ready before your trip. So we were going to do an exercise here. We're going to mimic what it would be like to get our suitcase up over into that overhead compartment. So you're going to hold the dumbbell on either side.
Okay.
And we're going to stand about shoulder width apart here. And we're going to lower down and squat, kind of lower down and pick up and curl that dumbbell and then press it up overhead. Nice and slow and controlled. We're going to lower it down and squat and then curl it up and then press it up overhead.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess as the more you do of these, then you can add weights, add the strength.
Yeah, so the more you do them at home, the better it is for you. You're doing the right weights and the right repetitions when you are feeling a challenge. So you want to be able to maintain the right form for the exercise. You want to make sure that the weight is light enough that you can maintain the right form for the exercise. But you also want to make sure that the light is heavy enough that you're getting a challenge by the end of the reps that you're you're doing.
So
then you know you're making a difference.
Right. So if you can do it really easily, then you're actually not benefiting.
Yeah. So you want to do about 8 to 12 repetitions of your exercises when you're working on strength. And you can do, find that right weight for you, that where you get to the closer to that 10, 11, 12, you should be really working. You should be really feeling that it's working your muscles. If you can blow past that, you're not doing a heavy enough weight for your body.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this is good. So this is good for our arms.
Yeah, it's a nice way to also tone your arms and get yourself ready for that trip, right?
Yeah,
and make sure you look good in that.
So we wear sleeveless and bathing suits and have our arms toned. Yeah.
So another one that's great for your arms but also for prepping your body is we're going to stand in kind of a staggered stance here, and you're going to bring that weight down. And you're going to pull it back, pull your elbow back, and then extend and push your arm back. Bring it down and back in. So pull that elbow, extend it back, bring it in, and bring it down. This is going to tone those arms, especially for that sleeveless top.
Yeah.
And get you ready to lift that suitcase. There we go. Good.
And then you repeat it on the other side as well.
You can do these one side at a time. And also by doing them one side at a time, it's also engaging your core, because you have to control and keep your body still and stable. So you're actually getting the added benefit of getting those core muscles engaged by doing it one at a time.
Yeah. So as we're doing it, we should try to
you can tuck in those tummy muscles, but you want to make sure you keep breathing. That's of course the trickiest part when you're trying to tuck those tummy muscles in. Keep breathing at the same time.
So how does one breathe while you're tucking in your abdominal muscles?
It takes a lot of practice. I tell people the right way to know that you're contracting your abdominals is to kind of tuck in and brace yourself as if I was going to be horribly mean and go up and kind of punch you in the tummy.
Okay.
That's the feeling that you want to tuck in and really brace yourself. But it does take practice to be able to breathe and talk while you're doing that motion. So it just takes a lot of practice.
Yeah, I find that. Sometimes don't breathe as well as I should when I'm doing that.
But it's very important, because if you're not breathing when you're exercising, you can really throw out your heart, your blood pressure, all of that can be thrown out of whack. So it's really important to keep breathing when you're exercising.
So we'll keep breathing.
Yes.
So,
another exercise that we can do, we can set the weights aside. And we're going to work on our balance, because we were talking about those cobblestone streets, and maybe we're doing some hiking, maybe we're going on a different adventure, and you certainly want to keep up with who you're going with, and you also want to take in the sights.
Yeah.
So you want to have that balance top-notch, fine-tuned, so that you make sure that you're stable and secure when you're on those different surfaces, and you're also looking around and taking in all the beautiful sights around you.
Yeah, so when we're traveling overseas, especially, the pavement is not as even as it is in our country here with the sidewalks and everything. So so I think it's really important to maybe do a balance exercise.
Oh yeah, it's really important. The cobblestone streets, the stairs can be different heights than we're used to. Even if you're out hiking, the uneven surfaces, it's really important to make sure that your balance is up to speed. So an easy exercise we can start here with is, I'm going to demonstrate, is 1 foot ahead of the other. You get into a little bit of a position that might be a little bit of a challenge for your balance, rather than just standing with your feet together. And then make sure you tuck those tummy muscles in, and then we're going to go ahead and look gently side to side, because we want to see that we can take in those sights while we're on our trip.
And you do that slowly.
Nice and slowly. Yeah. So do it nice and slowly. You can switch sides. Practice that a couple repetitions. It's not something you have to do a lot of repetitions of, but challenging your balance a little bit is good to make sure that you can really navigate that trip and navigate uneven surfaces if you're hiking or through Europe, and you're also able to take in the sights while you're on your trip.
Right. Yeah. Because when you're walking in a natural environment, you're always turning your head too.
Yes, and maintaining conversation. You still want to keep up with the people that you're chatting with, but also take in the sights around you.
So and to do that, we should hold it for how long? And then we should repeat
you want to hold
the
for
side,
about
right?
30 seconds or so. Do some gentle head turns back and forth, and then switch over to the other side. You could do that once or twice on each side, and doing that every day, leading up to your trip would make a big difference.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So what else do you recommend for us?
Yeah,
So far it seems pretty easy.
Yeah. So, but a lot of times we talked about how long it takes to get places and how we're sitting for a while or we're walking for a while. And so it's nice to give a few stretches for our body to break up the trip. And, so I was going to demonstrate a couple stretches to help ease our body, especially if we're sitting for a long time, on a long flight or a long car ride, long train ride.
Yeah.
So nice and easy. You could just roll your shoulders back. That's a nice and easy one. And then you can grab your hands together and do just a little rotation at the upper back, and that helps to loosen up your upper back. And then I'll go ahead and demonstrate some head turns and tilt. So just nice and easy. You can tilt that head to the side. You can hold it, or you can go back and forth.
And I know sometimes people pull their head down.
So you can give a little extra tension by just gently touching on the head and pulling it down. You just want to make sure your shoulders are relaxed, and that's the biggest thing, is really stretching those upper trap muscles here. So many times we get stressed and we hunch those shoulders. That's our biggest stress area, right?
I find that people don't even realize that.
Yes, they don't even realize that they're hunching a lot of the times when we're driving, when we're sitting, when we're reading, we're on a laptop, whatever we're doing, we're hunching without even being aware of it. So
I know that happens a lot when driving, especially for long car rides. That I know I've done this myself, where I've just noticed that all of a sudden my neck was all the way up to my ear. I mean, my shoulders up to my ears. And
So just being aware of it, taking a little bit of time to take a break, turn your head side to side, tilt your head side to side, take some deep breaths, relax your shoulders, do those shoulder circles. And
we can add laughter. Laughter helps relax their shoulders too.
Yes, that's great. And then you want to keep the blood flowing, right? So, always talking about those ankle pumps and pumping your legs. So if you were sitting down, you could kind of extend your leg out and in a few times. There's not a lot of space, but you want to do as much as you can, extend out and in. And then you could do some ankle circles, point and flex, and just, keep that blood flow, because you might be sitting for a while.
Yeah, I've seen that on some airlines. They have that pamphlet there, to prevent blood clots. And they tell you you should do it like every 20 minutes or something.
Yeah, they do say it's about every 20 minutes. And if you can get up, every hour or so, just to get a little walk back and forth down the aisle and come back in and sit down.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a great. That's good to know.
Yeah.
What other kind of stretches should we be doing?
Yeah. So you want to make sure that you're just, keeping your body secure. You're keeping your body loose. You're getting that blood flow going. You could also, if you're sitting for a long time, I bring an extra little jacket or sweatshirt with me, roll it up and put it in the support of my lower back, just to give you a little bit of extra support while you're traveling or sitting for a long time. That makes a big difference.
Gives you better posture while sitting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
that gives you a lot of.
So what happens if you're traveling, and let's say you do take a misstep and you actually may twist your ankle a little bit, like what should somebody do?
It can be tricky. So especially tricky when you're going on a long trip and you really want to keep up with everybody, but the research now shows that ice is not as important as it was in the past, that we may have thought in the past that ice would be the first thing that we want to do, but now the research shows that your body is really taking care of that inflammation.
Really?
The inflammation is actually a good process. It's a good, healing process for your body. So the ice is not as important as it used to, as we once thought it was. So that's not an immediate concern. But keeping some gentle motion, getting that blood flow going that we were talking about, really promotes healing.
So that's different than what I've heard in the past also about like keeping it
still. And, so actually that causes it to get a little bit stiffer and a little bit tighter. And so a lot of times, some of the things that we may have thought of in the past are actually not as good for our body. We want to keep that gentle motion. If you can, rest it a little bit. You don't want to go, that big long hike that day. If you can avoid it, you want to, push that to another day. Give your body a little bit of rest, but you don't want it to be so still and stationary. You want to maintain some gentle, pain-free motion, move through the range that you can.
Oh, well, that's really good information, because that's like the opposite of what I've always been taught. So it's all new information. So if somebody wants to be able to get in on all this exercise and prepping, how do they reach you? What's your website?
Yeah, so it's vitalityfitandwell.com.
Okay, great. And Aubrey, like, what is like the one thing, like, you can give us a pearl of wisdom, like what's like maybe like the one thing we should do every day, or what's the one thing you do every day?
Well, I like to find movement in every day. It may not be a true exercise session every single day, but just finding some movement, whether it's some gentle stretching, whether it's a hike out in nature, whether it's dancing while I'm cooking in the kitchen.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Whatever it is, just finding some movement finding movement in every day is really great.
Yeah, I try to do that, even like, when I come home with my dog, kind of dance around a little bit. That's a really good point. So thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Really learned a lot, and I think this will really help a lot of us who are traveling and enjoy going on adventures all over the world. So I'm Nira Berry, your host of Happy and Healthy, and if you want to reach me, you can reach me at info@niraberry.com. And I'm Nira Berry, your host, as I mentioned, and I hope you have a happy day. Hi, I'm Nira Berry, life and happiness coach and also laughter therapist, and your host of Happy and Healthy. And now it's time for What's Good to Know. And as part of my series on success at life and at work, it's always better when you can be more positive in any situation. And what's the quickest way to get positive is laughter in 0 to 60 seconds. And it's not just for positivity, but did you know that when you laugh, it's actually a great stress reliever? And when you have negative thoughts, it actually causes a lot of stress-induced ailments. But when you laugh, it actually increases the neuropeptides and it helps you become more positive. And as a result, you have more positive interactions at work and with people in your life. And it's really amazing how the power of laughter is so strong. And many people overlook it because it's something so simple, but it's something that we're all born with. And so I feel so strongly about emphasizing that this is one of the main things you could do to have an overall happiness sense of life. And you don't have to have a good sense of humor, because laughter is based on humor, although humor is great to get to it. You don't need jokes, though. And so the studies have shown that to become more positive, all you have to do is laugh. And so just laugh for the sake of laughing, even with no jokes involved. Like, just try it now. Just go, you can do it. I know you can. And if you have great things to laugh at, that's even better. But sometimes they just don't happen. And so just go for it, because the longer you laugh, the longer term of the effects will be on you. If you just laugh for a short time, you'll have a short-term effect of positivity. But if you want to have a much clearer mind and more productivity and actually a more positive outlook, just laugh for a longer period of time. Maybe laugh while you're taking a shower in the morning. You'll see the results, because you'll actually have physical changes in your body. And when you laugh, it actually produces more oxygen, or it gives your organs a chance to really move and to get rid of toxins. And it's a wonderful way of relaxation. And one of the most important benefits is that it boosts your immune system. And many people overlook that as well. And not only that, but it's a pain reliever, and I find that laughing is one of the most important ways of coping with life. So even if you don't have a joke, just laugh, because you'll see how it really helps you out. So just laugh right now and just go, and then notice how you feel. I bet you feel really great.